Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to know that. I'm Sister Debbie Burnett, and I live in the Granite View State. I've been involved with the family history forever, since I was 16. So I've had the exciting adventure of traveling through all the different mediums that family history has gone through. Starting on a typewriter, you had to make sure it had long carriage, so you could do those long family record sheets on up to where we are now. And it's been a wonderful adventure, and I just love where we've gone. And I think, you know, if you've been there, done that, you really do appreciate. You'd have no idea, you know, how advantageous the digital world has made it for family history. No idea. So today our lesson is on how to keep track of yourself. I mean, do you ever feel like, I mean, this is kind of what my life has been for the last for the last week anyway. You've got notes everywhere, right? Especially when it comes to family history. I still have my old boxes of file folders where I would keep things to keep track of where I was with things. I think, I don't want to throw those away yet, just to make sure that, you know, they're all online. So some of my stuff is still in the paper format. But what a challenge we have with so many things that we need to keep track of. But Hansel and Gretel gave us a little clue as to what we should do if you know, we get lost.
Hansel was a clever boy. When they were walking to the forest in the morning, this time he dropped the breadcrumbs that he had put in his pocket the night before, and again made a trail all the way back home.
So that's what our lesson is on today, the breadcrumbs that we can leave for ourselves so that we know where we are. Do any of you remember, I mean, this is one method that they kind of show in the Family History Guide. You've also got the Family History Guide that can help you, but this isn't what this lesson is totally about. But this is, you know, the old paper format of the research log. And you put your ancestor's name at the top, and the date of the search, where you were, the call number of the book. I mean, teenagers don't even know what a call number is. Your comments, and so, you know, everything was kept on paper form. But this is the direction that technology has helped us with. So watch this.
Emma. 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 Emma.
So paper does have its place, but today we're going to try and go digital with that. I love that video. It's funny. And I've watched it like I don't know how many times, right? But paper does have its place, but today we're going to try and go paperless. I think the advantage of doing that is I don't know how long we've been home now. A couple of years. We served a mission in Uruguay. Now, that really wasn't my calling to do family history. It was to work with the missionaries. So once in a while, I got some free time, and clear over in Uruguay, because I kept notes right on FamilySearch, I could pick up right where I left off. I didn't have to worry about bringing the luggage full of paper to figure out where I am. So that is really the advantage. And I think the advantage of using FamilySearch for some of your research notes is quite advantageous, not only to you, but to probably other people. So let's figure out how we're we're going to go now. You can go ahead and go to your, if you haven't already opened up your FamilySearch account. So what I want you to do is just jump to any person that you would like to go to. And in here, there are, this is relatively new where they've kind of moved things around. But up here where I'm circling, it's called Collaborate. And this is where I leave a lot of my notes for each person. So you have two things here. You have your notes and your discussions. Anybody know why we have notes and discussions? Why not just notes or just discussions? Anybody know what the difference is between them? So I think originally when the program was first introduced way back when, all we had was discussions. But they wanted to bring things over from the old New Family Search program, and so they created this other section called Notes. So that anything that we created in that environment moved over. A lot of us put in our ever so difficult sources. I mean, we had to type them in. We didn't have it in. I mean, it was really a cumbersome process, but we did it. And a lot of those notes, those kinds of sources came over from the old program into Notes. So sometimes you'll notice something that says legacy on it. I think that's what it says on it. It's definitely something to look at. Oftentimes, there's no information there. It's just like, I mean, it's nonsensical. And at that point, you may as well delete it because it doesn't make any genealogical sense. It just, the computer couldn't tell. It just moved it over. So that's where the notes section came in. So I would suggest that if you want to leave something important that you don't want people to delete, then use your discussions. In your discussions, the discussion that you start cannot be deleted except by you. So nobody else can delete that. So oftentimes, if I see something in notes that I think is important, like it was created by my mom and you know, she knew the history, I will move, you know, I'll move that over to the discussion. I'll just copy and paste it into the discussion. I'll leave the note there too, so now I've got two things, but just in case somebody, I don't know, you know, crazy things happen on FamilySearch when everybody can use it. So it's just my insurance that discussion will stay with that. So let's show you how to do that. So if you're there at a point, go ahead and click on Add New Discussion. And this is just kind of an example of how I generally use it when I'm doing research. Generally, the first thing that I always look for is the census records. That's where I start because that's where families come together. So in my discussion, I will write in research log, and you can go ahead and type this if you want, and we can delete it later, and that way I can show you how you delete things. Research log census. Something like that. So you have to have a title in the discussion. Now notice that I cannot click Save. That's because it also wants a description in there. So I might just quickly put in, just so that this says, if I've looked at my person, so this person, Dora, lived from 1888 to 1924. So what census is she going to be in? We don't have an 1890. So she's going to be in the 1900, and she's going to possibly be in the 1910, and the last one would be the 1920. And that's kind of what I start with. And then if I also want to, I could add another discussion, and I might call it Research Log Vital Records. I mean, you can name these anything you want. It's totally up to you. But I like to tell people, you know, what it is I'm doing. And the same thing, I might put birth, marriage, and if I thought there was a second marriage, maybe another marriage, and death. Just something to keep something held there, because you have to have a description. Okay, so now I've kind of got two research logs going, one on my census record and one with my vital record. Then what I like to do is that as I'm going along, so you close those, and now all you have to do to reopen them, of course, is just click on them and click Edit. So at this point, I can edit, and I can delete it. The comment that you see there only shows up on your discussion, but if my mom logged into this and went to this person, she could open the discussion and she could make a comment on it. But she does not see, because she didn't create the discussion, she does not see the edit or the delete button. So that way people can kind of say, well, you know, you can just kind of create a discussion group going on with that one person there. So mainly I use this, you know, as my research log right there on this person. So as I'm, you know, tooling along, finding records, I would say 1900, found, something like that. 1910, found. 1920. So I had a problem with the 1920 census. I searched using FamilySearch. I searched using Ancestry. You know, I did all my research, and I couldn't come up with a census record for her. So this is where I think the most valuable part of this is for me, as well as for anybody else. I'll put, could not find in FamilySearch or Ancestry. And then I might get a little more detailed. I searched with Dora, I searched with Ellen, I searched, you know, kind of get really specific on the parameters that you used. And then I would save that. Now the other thing that I do.
Were you just in add comments there?
No, I was just in edit.
You were just in edit.
Yeah, I was just in edit.
Okay.
So now let me show you just one other quick trick that I like to use when I'm doing this, because, you know, vital records, that means, or census records, I have to open up the whole discussion to see what's in there. As I move along in my research, I change the title. So I might put, so I'm in edit, I'll put need 1920 or something like that. That way when I'm in the middle, you know, oftentimes you have to pause, you have to really go cook dinner or something like that. So it just kind of helps me visually see right away that the only thing that I'm really searching for right now is the 1920 census. And so that title can go clear across the board if it needs to. It can be quite long, so it can kind of, so you don't really have to open it up. I can say, oh, I need the 1920, boom, and we'll go off and search for that instead of clicking. So either way works. Now, why would you even want to write what you did not find? what purpose is there in that?
And not look again and duplicate the work.
Exactly, and I've done that. I started to do that after I got home from my mission, got back into things, and I started, doing my thing. I go, wait a minute, I should go check my research log, and sure enough, there was all my research notes. I'm like, oh, I already did this search. But what about my sister that might be working on this line? Wouldn't it be nice for her to know that I've already done this research? And, maybe it's only been 6 months, so she's going to say, well, gosh, she's already done that, so I'm not going to waste my time here. Maybe 2 years down the road, you might search again, because records are always popping up. But at least this becomes a research log for everybody. Everybody can see what's going on if you'll leave notes.
I have a question. If people are doing research at home, and the ones that are not members of the church, if you use RecordSeek and put in something like from GNet that they don't have free access to, can they open that or not?
Can they open the source?
Yeah, if it's from something that they don't have,
No, they
and you've done
can't.
it with RecordSeek, can they open it?
Well, RecordSeek will give you the URL.
Yeah, but if you don't have a paid subscription,
Right.
then you can't open it.
They will be able to see the source from record, but they won't be able to
open it up.
which is another lesson. But just let me tell you that this is what I do. I make sure everything that's in there is in the notes section of my source, so that they can see what I pulled from Ancestry or any other thing. So I copy and paste to make sure that information.
So you have to copy paste.
Yes, I do copy and paste the notes, just to make sure that other people like that can
see the source.
Can see at least what was written in the source.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so there's our. Any questions on how to use that? I use this a lot. It's not just for census records or vital records. If I think that I've got, that's a possible marriage. There's a possible marriage there that I found maybe in Ancestry or some other source. I'll copy the whole URL from Ancestry, and I'll put the note here saying there is a possible marriage here, and that's what I type. I'll put possible. Oops. Possible marriage. And then I'll write, I looked at this record, and I'll copy and paste the URL so I can get right back to it. And that way I can keep track of my possibilities, because I don't really want to put it into the system until I'm sure that at least I don't lose the sense, the track of trying to find these records. So, use this not just for yourself, which helps, but it'll help other people that are working on the same line, and they may be able to help you. They might be, they might find the source and then make a comment, say, hey, I found the source, and there's the source. So that kind of, some people say, well, why do you, do this census thing when, where is it that we see the census records? Well, it's in our sources, right? So here's the 1910, the 1920. So it's rather obvious. And that's true after the fact, but if you're in the middle of a research project, you don't really know. So I could go in, now that the sources are here, I could go in and edit this and just leave that one note saying I couldn't find it. So totally flexible on how you want to use it. And you can see that it's easily, if maybe you're done, maybe you don't really need any of these research notes other than what you didn't find. So if you found everything in the census records, well then you can just delete this. So I'll just click, we'll start here. So I'll just click on it. And because I'm the creator, I can delete it. And I'll just say, done with research. So pretty, yeah.
What does the yellow temple mean?
Yellow temple.
The green temple and then the yellow temple.
Needs more information.
Yeah.
There is a drop down menu where you can look at the legend of what all those colors mean. Okay, so there's your how to create a research log that's always with you, that's always with this person, and it's not just your research log, it's the research log for anybody that might be working on this. And they can add their own discussion as well. They don't have to follow your discussion, but they could add their own. It becomes a very powerful tool. So the difference, let's just review the difference between the notes and the discussions is what?
They can't erase your discussion.
Right. So discussions, nobody else can delete that. Notes is, somebody else could come in and delete your notes.
Okay, so how do you get more information? If it needs more information, how do you go to ancestry or?
Okay, that is, I'd be glad to help you after class. That's a whole different venue of what we're doing right now. So keeping track of yourself, this is one way, and this is a good way to kind of help other people know what you're doing. But, sometimes your thought processes don't need to be broadcast worldwide. So, just so that you know, I think most of you do know, but you know that all of these can be organized in chronological order or however you want by just clicking on your source and dragging it up. I like to do this. I mean, the timeline's great, but when I'm doing my research, I like to see what other people have put in, and I like to put them in chronological order so I can quickly tell what may be missing or what may not be right. For instance, I was working on, was it Dora? No, it was her sister, Alma. I was working on putting this together, and when I did that, I ended up with two 1910 census. Going, now wait a minute, I don't think she can be in two 1910 census. And so anyway, I had to figure that out and figure out which was the right one, and it ended up being that it was actually her sister, and I don't know why they named it her, but her sister was not on the census. She was married. That's why I thought, well, she's married, and so this has got to be the right census. So why is her name here? And then I said, oh, well, her sister. Anyway, that's kind of why.
Sometimes that depends on who gives the information for the census.
All right, well, I don't know who gave this information.
Sometimes dads.
I know. Yeah, it does depend on my husband to give you the right information. So, yeah, there's no clue when all the kids came along or anything, at least years. So that's why I kind of put these in order. It helps me find problems or, where the missing information might be. All right, but sometimes, like I said, we need our own space. So here's a little. Oh, well, I don't know about Adobe here. Let's try this one. And that's what I feel like sometimes with all this information coming in. I need my space. So where are you going to find a place where you can just write your own notes about things like that? So we have some options. Back in the day, before we had the family history consultant helper, I used a lot this thing that we call our source box. So when you hit your name, So if you can kind of remember, where do I find my source box? Where is that source box? How do I get there? If you think about your name, your personal name, then source box, that source box is personal to you. So you go to your name and you click on source box. Now mine's a mess because mine's been in the system forever and they keep adding things to it. And I've never taken the opportunity to clean it up. But let me give you a few. Is everybody in their source box? Because everybody's just going to look different. But I'll just give you some of the things that you can do with this. So you've got, and just ignore all of this over here. You've got folders that you can create. And these are all my folders, and I was kind of working on a better system. But to create a new folder, so let's say you just wanted to keep something on a particular family line, like I did this. Click on New Folder. Oh, too many folders. Shoot. I was going to say I'm limited to 50. Well, do I have any? I didn't this one. I wonder if I could go to one. Okay. Oh, I'm kind of doing this backwards, but. Okay, I should be able to add at least one folder. So you go to New Folder and you just give it a name. And all you have to do is click the little green check mark. And now you've got this new folder, Class Demo. So what am I going to put in this folder? Well, maybe I've got some website URLs that have to do with this particular person. So up here, I'm going to create a source. Now, you got to think outside the box. I'm really not creating a source, but this is my space. Nobody can see any of this information.
So you're the source.
So yeah, you're the source, right? So you can type anything you want and do anything you want in this source box environment. So think of it more, maybe get rid of the word source and just think of it as my personal space. So I've created my folder. So now to put something in that folder, you have to create something. And, you can call it website for this family. I mean, you can name it anything. If you have a web page that you want to add, a URL, like, I'll just, for an example, I'm going to copy that. And, and then I can make any other notes. I think this is a great website with more info. Okay. And I can just click Save. And it has the world, meaning that it's something that I created. It didn't come from FamilySearch. So now you see that in my class demo folder, I have one source. So let's, some of the other things I use for this are books. So this is a book about Mormon activities in California, which is where I grew up and my grandparents grew up. And so I've got a lot of relatives that are in this. So I keep it here so that I can refer to it often. So that's I've got one book on a brief history of Centerville, which is where my grandmother was from. So I just kind of stick it here because that way I don't have to go looking for it. And it's not really relative to a lot of people maybe out there on FamilySearch, but to me it's important. I've got, these are all folders of different families and things, but like I said, I've got to clean this up because things have changed so much over the last 10 years that I don't really need a lot of this. These are ones that I sources I really want to keep. I don't want to lose somebody, because somebody could delete the source off the family tree. And so these are ones that I'm keeping here just in case somebody deletes it. I can easily go back and reattach if I need to. So that's kind of my keep folder. Don't lose these. These are important.
So this is the backup to your source.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can be also backup. So it's your personal notes or it's a backup of sources you don't want to lose because somebody might detach.
So nobody can edit or get into this.
Right. This is your personal space. There's nobody that can get in here, which is really nice. So, but you can also use it too. I mean, that's what it was created for, was to create a source and attach it to a person out there in FamilySearch tree. But they've improved that process so much that a lot of people, I mean, this is the first way we had to do it. We had no other choice. We had to go to our source box. We had to move it over. It was great compared to what we've been doing, but now it's even better. You don't even really have to go to your source box. But if you want to keep something, then make sure it is in your source box so that you can reattach if you need to, if somebody deletes or changes a source out there. The other thing that I do is oftentimes I have, you know, that 110-year rule. And so as I come across some names, I have a folder called the 110, and I just make a quick note with their PID number and the date that that temple work could be done, and I bring it up. That's if I remember to go and check it, right? But even that process now with the ordinance ready thing that we've got, it's like, I don't know, anyway, it's always changing, but this is what I do. I also keep, if I have videos that I think are really instructional for people, but I keep websites here too. So I've got a folder called websites, and I created the folder, right, and then I create the source, and this is what I get. So ancestry, how to search, and then I put the URL right there. So this is ancestry, how to search, and here's the website. I've got Lancashire records. Here's the website. I can just click right there and go right to the Lancashire website. So it's kind of a nice place to keep your websites too, because I can just click there and go there. Because you do forget. I mean, if I'm working in Lancashire for a while, then I remember. But if it's been a year or two, I go, I think there was a website for that. I can just go into my personal space and oh yeah, there it is. And off I go. So it's great. It's a great tool.
Hey, Debbie?
Yeah.
When I went into there was already 11 sources created. Where did they come from?
They probably came from when you attach, when we do census records or something for Family Tree and it says attach this source and, we do all that attaching. there's a place in there that says add to your source box, but it's so tiny nobody even knows that it's there. And if you keep that checked, then they move automatically into your source box.
So I did that some way.
You did, yep, you did that some way. So there, but you know, just uncheck your little, if you don't want it to go to the source box, this is my philosophy on the source box now. If it comes from FamilySearch, then I can easily re-find it if somebody detaches it. It's just easy. Well, it'll come up as a hint, right? So that little box, when I'm doing that process, I uncheck.
And where is that at?
It's in when you attach sources. So we'll look at that after class. I'll show you where that is. But if it's a source from Ancestry or any other place, I pop it into my source box, because that might not be found so easily. Again, you know, so that's my take on that. But
So,
yeah, a lot of people go, where is this from? I didn't do this.
So I can take these 11 sources, and I created 2 folders.
Yeah, if you want to keep them, you can create your folders and move them into that folder. Absolutely. But like I said, my philosophy on it is, if that source came from FamilySearch, it's easily findable. And so you could just go in and delete it. So let's kind of talk a little bit about that.
I have one question on the source box.
Uh-huh.
Yours, for example, has 729 sources.
Right.
Can you do a search on that? If you were looking for a specific record?
No, I don't
It's
think.
not a search function.
No, this is a very limited
Okay.
ability to do. And like you said, like you saw, you can only have 50 folders. That's why I started doing these folders, master A through D. So anybody that has a last name A through D goes into this folder. That's what I was beginning to do, but life is just so full of other things to do that getting a little more organized is kind of overwhelming for me, at least in this. So if you want to add a source to a folder,
I just dragged it in.
yeah, you can just drag it over and put it in. Okay. Also, you can open, once you've created the source, you can, let me go to something else here. You can open it, and you can see that this one is not attached to anybody. I could copy it, I could edit it, I could view it, or I could remove it. And so if you want to remove it, just hit remove and it's gone.
Once you've dragged it over to your folder, can I go back, delete that?
Delete.
In the main file?
Okay, so, well, that's a good point. So you've got 2 views here. This view is all, and it tells you right here where this is located in the home folder. So if you don't, when you move a source over from one of those things, it automatically goes into your home folder, unless you move it somewhere else. So my home folder is kind of full, you can see.
And you can't delete anything in your home folder
Yeah, so I could just,
without deleting the folder itself.
oh, true, right. So I can't delete a folder until everything is out of that folder.
And so when it says all of these, I can't delete one and all without it deleting it out of the folder too.
So if you've got all, and I want to maybe delete this source,
It's in a folder.
okay, let's go here, class.
I just don't want it in all of them because it
Well,
fills up pretty fast.
all is just, that's just a given. All will always be there, and it won't fill up. I mean, you could go on forever. It's only the folders themselves that are limited to 50. So right now I've got 728 sources in various folders. In my home folder, I've got 314. And so this just tells me, well, maybe I want to move these, or maybe what do I want to do with them? They kind of just came over automatically into a home folder. Okay, any questions on, so just, you can delete anything, so just, try this, see if it works for your own personal space, and you can use that. So I'm going to take you, I hope, to one other option that we now have. Let's see, I can stop here. Okay. We have this, they're always changing on me, and I didn't get a chance to. Oh, I want that. It's the Family History Consultant Resource, generally designed for the family history consultants so that they can help other people. But it's also a great place for you as well. I'm not sure that's what I wanted. Yep, the consultant planner. So that was under help, consultant resources, and consultant planner. Now you may not have invited yourself, but you can go ahead and invite a person or add a person. And if it's yourself, you may as well add yourself. So if you add a person, it'll bring it up right from your own ward directory, and you can go ahead and add them. And then I think it sends them an email or something that they just accept. Okay, so that's, once again, that's under your help. The bottom one that says consultant resources. And then there won't be any, and then, well, okay, so up here at the top, you've got your calling. So you might be on this page when you first, so you don't want that. You want the consultant planner. Okay, so it's the second one there. And it's good for a year, I think. Now see here, there's two that have expired, and I thought, oh, well, what happens to all my notes if my account expires? Then I've lost everything. So I did test that out, and no, you don't lose anything. So this says expired, and I would just click on my name if that were me, and you just have to invite, but all the notes stay there. That's something I was a little concerned about. Let's see. So let's look and see kind of what this consultant planner will do. So it gives you, some opportunities, some record hints, all right here, but you can create a note or a lesson plan and keep track here. So this is kind of new, and I'm kind of toying with this as maybe replacing my, because this is your own space as well. Only you can see this.
I'm trying to add myself as a consultant is saying a helper number, required 5-digit number. What is that?
Let's do that after class. So if anybody wants to get into that consultant planner, then we'll hop on and do that. Because I'm not exactly not sure.
Okay.
I mean, it's been a while since I did mine. So
okay.
Here I can create a lesson plan, and I can give it any kind of title. And the goal, and I can write anything I want in here. With Rex, I still need And so it's kind of another place that you can look at things. So there's my demo class. So right now I've got 5 lesson plans. Now maybe you just want to put it in, create a note. You can do that too. So I'm just showing you this as it's kind of a new option that's out there, but I like this because from here I can go right to my tree. I mean, it kind of gives me other things that I might be able to do. You can show birth years. You know, this chart kind of does all kinds of cool things. So this is another place that you can access from FamilySearch anywhere in the world that has website capabilities and keeps the notes here as well, instead of maybe your source box. Totally up to you and what you would use. Yeah.
Over here where it says information needed, it says 62. Are those 62 people related to me?
Yes. Yes. You just need information. Okay, any questions on how to do a research log, which would be done in your discussion, meaning that's a research log not only for you, but for everybody that's researching that person. If you want your own personal space, you have 2 options. You can do your source box, which is found under your name. If you just remember personal space under my name, source box. And then you've also got this family history consultant planner. And you just add yourself.
And that's from help, right?
Yeah, that's from your help, and it's the last one. Okay? All right. If there are no other questions, then I'm going to stop recording this session, and then we'll come out and help you get organized. That's what this class is all about. I also have some homemade bread that I made last night that you can slice, and I'll get that ready for you too.
Right.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.